Even with the Fed indicating otherwise, some feel that the economy will need stronger support. If this strike does take place, you are going to see it in the inflation numbers. You are going to see it in everyday prices. And it doesn't matter where you live in the country, it will affect you. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell was recently in Nashville, Tennessee, and he gave some insight into the Fed's position on future interest rate cuts. He discussed how they plan to proceed moving forward and how they feel about the current state of the economy. Now, in this video, we're going to discuss future interest rate cuts by the Fed. We're going to talk about how that might take place and also what it means for you and me. Now, before we get started, let me just say that if you like content like this, leave a comment down below letting me know what you think. Make sure you subscribe for more content like this and hit that thumbs up button for me. The Fed has made it clear that they will be taking a flexible approach to future interest rate cuts. They said that they're not on some preset course on the way that things should go, and the way that they proceed is going to be data driven. Now, the first interest rate cut was that 0.5% cut, an aggressive cut. It came as a surprise to some people. I know for me it was a little bit of a surprise, as I was expecting a 0.25 rate cut. Well, the Fed has made it clear that moving forward that it's going to be data driven, but they did also say that we should not expect those type of aggressive rate cuts moving forward. So basically what the Fed is telling us that a 0.25 rate cut seems more likely to be on the horizon than that aggressive 0.5 rate cut that we just saw recently. Now, again, a lot of this is going to be dependent on what the labor market looks like in the month of September when those months come out in the month of October, and also what the inflation data reads. And the Fed has kind of made the point that if things kind of continue on the course that they're on right now, the current trajectory, that we could expect 2 more rate cuts to take place this year, but they are probably going to be a 0.25 rate cut each. Now, the initial 0.5, 2.25s will get us down by about 1 point from where we were at the beginning of the year, or where we were just a couple of months ago. But that is likely what we have on the horizon. That's probably what's going to take place. Now, the next Fed meeting is going to be at the beginning of November. And, all bets are pretty much saying right now that there will be a rate cut at that time, and that it's likely to be a 0.25 rate cut. Now, it's interesting to note that a lot of people, traders and people that are betting and speculating on these things, even with the Fed's comment, a lot of people are still anticipating a 0.5 rate cut at the December meeting. So even though the Fed is saying that, we don't plan on moving aggressively unless we absolutely have to, a lot of speculation is still saying that a 0.5 rate cut is on the horizon at the end of the year. And it makes you kind of think, do people think that the economy will be in such a bad place at that time where a 0.5 rate cut will be warranted over a 0.25 rate cut? Just some food for thought, just something that I was thinking of. As the Fed came out with this information, the stock market kind of dropped as Powell was speaking. At the end of the day, it popped back up again, but the Fed just basically letting us know that they're not on any preset course. They don't know what they're going to do just yet, but as of right now, with the current way that things are going, we could expect 2.25 rate cuts to end the year. Now, inflation data for the month of August just came in, and it was at 2.2%, so very close to that Fed target of 2%. And the labor market is really giving us mixed signals, with the unemployment rate that's going up, but jobless claims going down. And I touched on this in my recent video, why there's those mixed signals and why it's kind of hard to gauge the labor market, but it does show us some weaknesses. But then there's also things that could come out of left field completely that would just kind of change the way that things go. For example, a port strike on the East Coast that affects about 50% of all the ship cargo that goes in and out of the United States. Now, we are expecting this strike to take place. It's Monday. I'm releasing this video on Tuesday, so as of the day of this video, we are expecting a strike to take place. Now, it could be a short-lived strike. They could literally at the buzzer come up with a deal and the strike doesn't even happen at all. It could be a couple of days, but if it is a prolonged strike, everybody is going to feel it. If this strike does take place, you are going to see it in the inflation numbers. You are going to see it in everyday prices, and it doesn't matter where you live in the country, it will affect you. Now, things of that nature. Now, that's just one example. Maybe that doesn't happen to that degree, but it might. But things of that nature could take place that'll completely change the way that the Fed does things. If that was to take place and inflation was to start to increase and increase quite substantially, well, maybe the Fed would have to change course on what they do with interest rates. Now, I do think a 0.25% rate cut in November sounds about right. And I do think that it's interesting that traders are betting on a 0.5% rate cut in December, even though the Fed has indicated otherwise. But with everything that we have coming out as far as the inflation data, the labor market data, the left field type of things like the labor strike, and we know we have upcoming rate cuts coming, it's just an interesting time that we're dealing with right now economically. And as far as rate cuts, time will tell to see exactly how they take place. If you like content like this, leave a comment down below letting me know what you think. Make sure you subscribe for more content like this and hit that thumbs up button for me.